Today's interview, we have invited here Patricia, who is the awardee of the Young Investigator Prize 2022 by Wiley-BioFactors, and she was selected for her first author paper, Treatment of the Metabolic Syndrome by siRNA Targeting Apolipoprotein C3. And we're very happy that you're here today. And at first, we would like to learn a bit more about the paper itself. So it would be great if maybe you could spend a few sentences on the content of the paper in more general terms.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here, and thank you for the prize. It's delighted to be here. And yeah, sure. So in this paper, what we wanted to do is to pharmacologically target apolipoprotein C3 or ApoC3 with a novel approach that would be better than the already existing ones. And well, why ApoC3 is ApoC3 is increased in obesity and diabetes, and is a pro-inflammatory factor. And the main functions that it has is to inhibit the lipases and reduce the hepatic elimination of triglycerides. And this will in turn be like you have higher circulating lipids. So because all of these, ApoC3 is related to diabetes, obesity, and fatty liver. So we have previously seen that when you reduce levels of ApoC3 by antisense oligonucleotides, which is another RNA-based therapy, you can prevent and reverse the metabolic derangements of high-fat diet. But science is always moving forward, and then another tool was developed, which is the small interference RNA, or the siRNAs. And there were studies suggesting that these siRNAs could be more promising than the antisense oligonucleotides, but this was never tested for ApoC3. So our aim was to develop for the first time this siRNA targeting ApoC3 and to test in vivo in an animal model of obesity and diabetes, having high circulating levels of ApoC3 and all the metabolic derangements associated to obesity, such as the metabolic syndrome. And what we did is a characterization of the compound in terms of the target dose, and which would be like which dose you need to reduce ApoC3 to a certain extent that you are interested in. And also frequency of administration studies that would be like how often you should re-administer that target dose to maintain stable those ApoC3 levels. And we also did toxicology studies and off-target effect studies. And what we discovered is that for the first time, ApoC3 siRNAs show that it's a tool that it's more stable, more potent and efficient than other similar therapies that are in use. And that there were no toxic effects or off-target effects of the compound, and this implicates that it's safety and the safety of this compound. And this and the development of safer drugs, it's important for the faster translation from the basic research to the clinical applications, which isn't the endpoint for all scientific studies, I would say.
Nice. Thank you very much for this nice summary. I think that's really helpful to comprehend the work that you're doing. At first, I would have a very general question. So how did you get into the field that you're currently working in? How did you develop your interest in the metabolic diseases and drug development? And then as a second question, how did you then choose the lab you're currently working in, and how does it feel to be working abroad?
Well, I am type 1 diabetes myself since I was 1 year old. So I've always been very close to health care systems and medicines and drug development, new therapeutic approaches. So when I had the chance to decide where I want to focus my career, I had very clearly in mind that it would be something related to health sciences. Then I realized that this lab at Karolinska Institutet, Per-Olof Berggren's lab, it's a fantastic group in which I have the opportunity to access many different techniques and tools, but also many different people with higher expertise in many different fields related to diabetes. So it's, I'm sure by staying here, it has broadened my knowledge like way too much. And this is fantastic. And well, being abroad is kind of hard. It's been always been a bit hard for me because I'm from Spain, and being here in Sweden is a very different culture. But I have had the opportunity to meet lovely people and people from many other different countries as well, and cultures that also enriched your soul a little bit, which is fantastic. It's amazing.
Nice. That's good to hear that you found a very suitable environment for your work. Coming back to your paper, what is the favorite aspect of your paper, or rather the work on your paper? I'm sure it involves different methods, different styles of working. What do you like most about the lab work?
Well, I never worked before in drug development, so getting to know how much work it takes, especially with this day that we've been through, the pandemic with COVID and vaccines development, it's amazing that all these pharmas could do such a nice work within so little time, because it's you have to do a lot of efforts. And I would say that my favorite aspect is the fact that it's being published. Because, as a scientist, that's the point where you want to get. You want to create a piece of data and put it into the public so that everyone has access to it. And to place a little bit more of data in the field. So for the future, maybe that's helpful for the treatment of patients. And that's like the most rewarding thing.
That's great. Yeah, I can comprehend that putting the information out so that the general public can profit is rewarding. Now that we've talked about the lab work, what is your favorite activity outside the lab? How is the city that you live in, and also the environment as a whole?
Well, I loved to dance when I was in Spain, and I made a lot of good friends going to dance classes. And I'm sure if I'm back at some point, I'm sure I will retake it. But here in Sweden, I'm amazed by the nature. Like, everything is full of nature everywhere. And I realized how incredible it is to go camping, which I never did in Spain. And I discovered that I really love it. So I really enjoy that a lot here.
Nice. All right. And now, of course, everybody maybe has people that serve as an idol or someone they orient to. What person or what kind of person, it doesn't necessarily have to be one, whether it is a scientist or a non-scientist, inspires you the most to pursue your work and to bring it out, to do something better that is useful?
Oh, that's hard. It's hard to pick just one, because like along the life, I can think of many different teachers that at some point encouraged you to fulfill and to continue in the way. I can think of my family, of course, but yeah, it's hard. I think like it's a mixture of, yeah, my family has always been there supporting me and encouraging me, but I can think of some teachers and doctors that has made me feel like, oh, you're doing such a great job, because we need more in the field of diabetes, because it's a global epidemic, and there's a lot still to do.
Nice. All right. Thank you very much for this insights into your work.
Thank you.
That many people can profit from it, and to raise interest in the research that you're conducting. And I hope you can stay on track with the work and continue this great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you a lot for this lovely time.